Hello and welcome to this week's AI-generated sermon podcast. Geoff Baines and his family with us giving an update on their mission and the next steps in moving from Guatemala to America for study. Geoff also brought us the message of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch and what can happen when being sent by God, even for a single person. I hope you continue to enjoy these discussion podcasts. God bless you and see you soon.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, we often think about success in terms of big numbers, right?
Yeah, large-scale impact, wide reach.
Exactly. But what if real influence, lasting impact, actually comes from places you'd least expect, maybe even through paths that seem, well, illogical? So today we're doing a deep dive into an ancient story. We're looking at an audio source that kind of weaves together a modern personal story with a foundational biblical narrative.
Okay.
And our mission here is really to pull out some insights, actionable things about guidance, purpose, and maybe the surprising power that just one single encounter can have.
And the speaker and our source material, they really set this up well with a personal story right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they talk about this really stark contrast. Like 25 years ago, their in-laws had these thriving ministries down in Guatemala.
Okay, thriving how?
Well, new families joining constantly every week. The father-in-law was always out visiting people. I mean, it was clearly a big growing thing.
Right, sounds like it.
But then you fast forward to today, and the speaker's in Escas, Spain. It's a town of like 80,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're leading this tiny group, just 12 people, meeting in a restaurant basement.
Wow, quite the shift.
Exactly. So that personal story immediately throws up this tension, How do you square that massive growth back then with this much smaller, quieter reality now? It really frames the main story we're about to get into.
That is quite a contrast.
Yeah.
It definitely makes you think. And it brings us to Philip, who's central to the biblical story we're looking at.
Right.
So before this key event happens, Philip is, well, by any standard, he's incredibly successful in Samaria.
Yeah, the source describes it as like a massive spiritual boom.
We're talking crowds flocking to him, real joy in the city, people being healed, the lame walking apparently, and men and women getting baptized in numbers.
Mass conversions, basically.
Pretty much. The source says his plate was, pretty full. He was right in the middle of a revival.
And this is exactly where the story takes that unexpected turn. It introduces a command that, well, it just doesn't seem logical from a human standpoint.
Okay, what happens?
An angel of the Lord, the story says, shows up and tells Philip, arise and go.
Go where? To another big city.
No, that's the thing. Go from this place of incredible fruitfulness to a literal desert road.
A desert.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. It totally clashes with our usual ideas of success or where divine guidance might lead, according to this narrative. But what the source really emphasizes here is Philip's reaction.
What did he do?
Simple obedience. No argument. Didn't ask why. Didn't hesitate. He just got up and went.
That obedience, even when the destination looks like, well, like you said, a desert, it makes you pause, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How often are we willing to do that?
That's a challenging thought.
So Philip obeys, heads out to this desert road, and there, the narrative says, he encounters this second key figure, the Ethiopian eunuch.
Right, and this guy wasn't just some random traveler.
No, the source points out his high status. Being a eunuch meant he could get close to the queen. He was important.
And clearly intelligent, wealthy, too. I mean, he'd traveled all the way from Ethiopia to Jerusalem just to worship.
And he's reading a scroll of Isaiah, which, back then.
That was rare. Literacy was maybe only 1 or 2%. And those scrolls, like Isaiah, could be huge, maybe 9 meters long, though he probably just had a section.
So high status, wealthy, literate, religious man.
But what the source really highlights is his spiritual hunger. He wasn't just going through the motions in Jerusalem. He was actively reading Isaiah, really trying to understand who the prophet was talking about.
Genuinely seeking.
Exactly. Which leads to this key question the source raises. If he's so smart and so sincere, why couldn't he figure it out?
Good question.
And the source points to that idea from Romans that faith comes from hearing the message. Essentially, you often need someone to explain it.
Like a guide.
Yeah, a trusted person, whether that's through, modern tools like YouTube or Google or old school commentaries or just someone guiding you.
So the implication is that understanding these texts often needs that human connection, that guidance.
Yeah.
It suggests, maybe, that many of us have what it takes to help explain things to friends or family.
That seems to be the takeaway, yeah.
Okay, so Philip sees the chariot. What happens next? The Spirit tells him something.
Yes, the narrative says the Spirit tells him, go to that chariot, stay near it.
And Philip's response?
It's striking. He doesn't just walk over. The text says he ran.
Ran, an apostle, running.
Yeah, imagine that. The source really plays up this urgency. No waiting for an invite, no negotiating, no let me finish my coffee first. It brings up another challenge, right? If you feel prompted by God, according to this view, to talk to someone, do you ignore it, do you bargain, or do you act immediately? Philip's run suggests urgency is key.
Don't delay.
Exactly, and that urgency leads straight into the conversation. Philip hears the eunuch reading aloud, which was common, even for smart people then.
Right, reading out loud helped comprehension.
Yes, and Philip just asks him, straight up, do you understand what you're reading?
Bold move.
And the eunuch's reply is fascinating. Sort of frustrated, but definitely hungry for help. He says, how can I understand it unless someone guides me?
He knew he needed help.
Absolutely. And if you link that to the bigger picture the source presents, it suggests maybe our main role should be guiding others to understand the core message about Christ.
Rather than judging or debating side issues.
Right. Not condemning, not getting bogged down in minor points, not telling people where they're messing up, just needing, as the source puts it, a willing heart and a listening ear. You don't need degrees for that.
Just willing to. Okay, so what exactly was the eunuch reading?
The narrative specifies it was Isaiah 53, one of those passages often called the Songs of the Suffering Servant.
Which many see as pointing directly to Jesus.
Precisely. The source calls it a God incidence. Here's the eunuch reading about Jesus, according to this view, but totally missing it. Missing that Jesus-shaped piece of the puzzle, as the source puts it.
Wow.
And then the eunuch asks what the source calls the golden question.
Which is?
Who is this about? I mean, that's a huge question. Scholars still debate it. Was Isaiah writing about himself? Someone else? Or was it predicting Jesus?
So the eunuch being educated is basically asking Philip for his scholarly take.
Yeah, which theory do you subscribe to? But Philip's response, highlighted by the source, is key.
What does he do?
He doesn't get drawn into an academic debate. He doesn't, as the source says, sweat the small stuff.
Instead,
he stays focused on the main thing. He uses that exact passage as a starting point, a launching pad, to tell him the good news about Jesus. Acts 8.35.
So using the scripture at hand to point to Jesus.
Right. The source really emphasizes that from its perspective, all scripture ultimately points towards God's plan through Jesus.
Okay, so the big takeaway here seems to be the power of sticking to the core message, not getting sidetracked by secondary debates.
That's definitely a strong theme.
And what was the immediate result of Philip focusing like that?
Immediate impact. The narrative describes the eunuch just believing, receiving the truth, and then showing that same kind of urgency Philip had.
How so?
He doesn't wait around for some formal baptism class or ceremony. They pass some water on the road, and he just asks, look, here's water. Why can't I be baptized?
Straight to the point.
Yeah, it shows full belief, not hesitation or doubt, according to the narrative. Philip then checks, asking, if you believe with all your heart, you may.
And the eunuch.
He declares, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. The source notes this shows he had the intellectual understanding, but now it was also a heart decision.
So they go down into the water.
And he gets baptized. Dunked, as the source puts it, calling it the proper way.
Okay, conversion, baptism.
Mm-hmm.
What happens right after that?
This is where it gets really wild in the story. As soon as they come up out of the water, Philip is just gone.
Gone, like vanished.
Yeah, the text says he was zapped away, basically. The eunuch didn't see him anymore.
Whoa. How did the eunuch react to that?
He rejoiced. But the source clarifies it wasn't because Philip was gone. It was because Philip, the guide, had done his job. He'd led the eunuch to Christ, so Philip himself was, in a sense, no longer important for that specific purpose.
The guide's job was done.
Exactly. But Philip's work wasn't over. The narrative says he reappeared somewhere else, far away, and just kept going. Continued preaching the gospel in all the towns, no break, just on to the next assignment.
That speed is incredible. The urgency of the conversion, the baptism, Philip's immediate redeployment, it's all very fast-paced in the narrative.
It really emphasizes that sense of divine timing and not wasting a moment.
Now, the speaker in our source material connects this whole story to a personal experience, right? Something about a train.
Yeah, it's a really relatable little story. They were on a tourist train going to this tiny, tiny station, And only one single person got on the train there.
Just one.
Just one. And the speaker's initial reaction was, what a waste, all that fuel, all that time just for one person.
I can see thinking that.
But then that experience leads them to connect it back to the eunuch story and ask this profound question.
What's the question?
What if, when we went for that one person, they had something that could change a nation?
Connecting the single train passenger to the single eunuch.
Exactly. Because many historians actually think that this Ethiopian eunuch took the message he got from Philip back home to Africa.
And that's how Christianity spread there.
That's a widely held belief, yes.
Yeah.
So the source poses this idea. Because of one person, the destiny of a whole nation was changed.
Wow. That puts the one person on the train in a very different light.
Totally. It's a powerful reminder from the source. Never underestimate the value of that one person you might talk to, because from this perspective, God definitely doesn't.
So let's try and bring this all together. This deep dive seems to have surfaced some really key themes from the source material.
Yeah, several strong points.
First, this idea that God still speaks or guides, maybe in unexpected ways. Are we listening?
Second, that call to obey, even when the path seems illogical, like Philip heading to the desert. That's where the narrative suggests miracles can happen.
Third, this sense that people are actually hungry for understanding, and maybe we should be more proactive, like Philip running, to go out and guide them, not just wait for them to ask.
Right. And fourth, the emphasis on guiding, not condemning or judging. Keeping the focus on the central message about Jesus, like Philip did with Isaiah 53.
And finally, that urgency. Don't delay obeying a prompting. Cultivate that quick responsiveness we see in both the eunuch wanting baptism and Philip's immediate action.
Those seem like the core takeaways, yeah.
It leaves you with a lot to think about.
Definitely. And maybe a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to carry forward, drawn from the source. Consider praying the prayer mentioned in the source material. Lord, here I am, send me.
That's a big prayer.
It is challenging, isn't it? Because it means you don't know where you'll be sent or to whom. Could be a coworker, your neighbor, someone in a coffee shop, maybe even someone on the tube, as the speaker suggests.
Total uncertainty.
But the conviction in the source is that God is still sending people. And the call, mirroring Philip, is to, maybe metaphorically, run to them and be urgent. Be ready for that unexpected encounter.